A reading from Daniel. King Nebuchadnezzar made a golden statue whose height was 60 cubits and whose width was 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura in the provinces of Babylon. Then King Nebuchadnezzar sent for the satraps, the prefects, and the governors, the counselors, the treasurers, the justices, the magistrates, and all of the officials of the provinces to assemble and come to the dedication of the statue that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. So the satraps, the prefects, and the governors, the counselors, the treasurers, the justices, the magistrates, and all of the officials of the province assembled for the dedication of the statue that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. When they were standing before the statue that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up, the herald proclaimed aloud,
"You are commanded, O peoples, nations, languages, that when you hear the sound of the horn, pipe, lyre, trigon, harp, drum, an entire musical ensemble, you are to fall down and worship the golden statue that King Nebuchadnezzar has set up. Whoever does not fall down and worship shall immediately be thrown into a furnace of blazing fire."
Therefore, as soon as all of the people heard the sounds of the horn, pipe, lyre, trigon, harp, drum, and the entire musical ensemble, they all fell down and worshipped the statue that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Accordingly, at this time, certain Chaldeans came forward and denounced the Jews. They said to King Nebuchadnezzar,
O king, live forever.
You, O king, have made a decree that everyone who hears the sound of the horn, pipe, lyre, trigon, harp, drum, an entire musical ensemble shall fall down and worship the golden statue.
And whoever does not fall down and worship shall be thrown into a furnace of blazing fire.
There are certain Jews whom you have appointed over the affairs of the province of Babylon.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
These pay no heed to you, O king. They do not serve your gods, and they do not worship the golden statue that you have set up.
Then Nebuchadnezzar in a furious rage commanded Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego be brought in. So they brought those men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar said to them,
"Is this true? O Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, that you will not serve my gods and you will not worship the beautiful golden statue that I have made?" Well, if you change your mind when you hear the sound of the horn, pipe, lyre, trigon, harp, drum, an entire musical ensemble, to fall down and worship the beautiful golden statue that I have made, well and good. But if not, if you won't fall down and worship, well then, you're immediately going to be thrown into a furnace of blazing fire. So tell me again, who is this God who will deliver you out of my hands?
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered the king,
O Nebuchadnezzar, we have no need to present a defense to you in this matter.
If our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the furnace of blazing fire and your hand, O king, let him deliver us.
But if not, be it known to you, O king, that we will not serve your gods, and we will not worship the golden statue that you have set up.
Then Nebuchadnezzar was so filled with rage against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego that his face became distorted. He ordered the furnace heated up 7 times more than was customary. And ordered some of the strongest guards in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to throw them into the furnace of blazing fire. So the men were bound, still wearing their tunics, their trousers, their hats, and their other garments, and they were thrown into the furnace of blazing fire. Because the king's command was urgent and the furnace was so overheated, the raging flames killed the men who lifted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. But the 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down, bound into the furnace of the blazing fire. Then Nebuchadnezzar was astonished and rose up quickly. He said to his counselors,
Wasn't it 3 men that we threw bound into the fire?
True, O king.
But I see 4 men walking unbound in the middle of the fire. And the fourth has the appearance of a god.
Nebuchadnezzar approached the door of the furnace of the blazing fire.
Hey, Shadrach? Meshach? Abednego? Come out. Come out of the fire. Come here.
So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out from the fire, and the satraps, the prefects, the governors, and the king's counselors gathered together and saw that the fire had not any power over the bodies of the men. The hair of their heads were not singed, their tunics were not harmed, and not even the smell of fire came from them.
Is this thing on? Okay, good. I have a new proclamation. Blessed be the God of Shadrach and Meshach and Abednego, who has sent his angel and delivered his servants who trusted in him. They disobeyed the king's command and yielded up their bodies, rather than serve any god except their own God. Therefore, I make a new decree. Any people, nation, or language that utters blasphemy against the God of Shadrach and Meshach and Abednego shall be torn limb from limb and their houses laid in ruins.
For there is no other God who will deliver in this way. The word of the Lord.